Are you one of those people that just got a very good camera, but it doesn't look good? Well, you try to turn on some lights, but it still doesn't look good. Well, I have RGB, let's try that too. Well, it's shit, it's still shit. I had the same issue, so went up to buy a new one. I only found some car lights and even digital cinema red epic brain camera. After all, I found perfect for me Elgato key lights, so I immediately wanted to buy them. I looked a little bit and I really want to be like this epic gamer. I clicked shop now and the price was 200 euros. So I decided to make my own, and here's my plan. I'll put two different LED strip lights, yellow and white, on the same aluminum plate, and then I'll combine both colors with a diffuser. So that we can get all the colors from cold to warm, I'll make two circuits for each light to be able to adjust brightness. Both circuits will be on the same board in the same control box. The circuit is very simple. It's basically PWM, or pulse width modulation, which creates pulse, and we can adjust that pulse with potentiometer. And wider that pulse is, light will be more bright. We just need to be careful that frequency is high enough or camera will detect it. I had this problem when potentiometer was just too big. For start, let's start with circuit. I designed this little control box where the circuit will be. It should be big enough to get circuit and all other components inside. Then I designed light. Inspiration is Elgato key light, but it's a little bit smaller since I don't have enough space for it, and also it would take a lot of filament while printing. I will put a link in the description so you can download the models if you want to make it yourself. Now that we have our 3D models done, it is time to print everything with 3D printer. It will take me around 2 days of printing, since the biggest parts take up to 10 hours. So let's turn on the 3D printer, and yeah, it's not a bomb. Never forget to clean your 3D printer, just like you clean yourself. Now that I have my 3D printer prepared, it's time to get files to the printer. And to print it, we need a G-code. And to get a G-code, you need a special program called Slicer. I'm using Prusa Slicer. And what you can do in the slicer is just import your model, do some modifications, like brim, and then you just slice it, and at the end you export it. But always I look how it will look like at the end, so it printed perfectly. Just like here, it will not fill enough, so I added a little bit more to make it a little bit stronger. Now I printed everything. It's quite a lot of parts, but we need all of them. I also made holes in this aluminum plate, which will help the lights to cool down. And the strips will also stick much better than plastic. I used normal screws to mount the plate, and also the holder for the whole light. Aluminum plate will also reflect the light, so it will help as well. I cut the strip light into 15 cm long strips, so I still have 2.5 cm on each side for cable management. After I glued and wired all the strips, it was time to add coolers for transistors, because for some reason they warm up a lot. After that, it was time to put everything together. I put the circuit inside control blocks, including potentiometers and switches. Luckily, it was enough space to put everything inside. I also bought this power supply, which outputs 12 volts and 3 amps. But be careful, when you're buying the power supply, you need to do math, because you need enough power to power everything. Then it was just time to test everything, and it somehow worked, kind of, but it should be working a little bit different. After all, I fixed it and it works normally. Because you can see the dots on the light, I need a diffuser, and I found out that baking paper is a great diffuser, and it's also very easy to get. Well, just in the kitchen. But because you cannot glue baking paper with any glue, I put it in a plastic folder which will hold it, and we can glue the folder into the frame. I used normal hot gun to glue it, but it took a really long time for it to really stick, but at the end it looked amazing.
I put on the diffuser, which just slides in. It was time for finish test, and it worked perfectly. Now it was time to add some details. First I cut off potentiometers and I added my own caps. Then I glued some symbols, which I printed with 3D printer with a white filament. And here's the final result. At the end, it was time to put everything together. First, I added holder for light. In the holder I put in the stick. I put the whole light into the holder on a table. I wired lights to power supply, and voila, here are the final results. I have two lights on each side to light up both sides of my face. Both lights have their own control box for easier setup. The control box, you also have switches to turn off the light, so next time you turn them on, they're already on your favorite settings. Probably wonder, how much did all of that cost for both of the lights? Here's how much. I spent around 20 euros for power supply and 20 euros as well for all the filament. Around 10 euros for electronic components and around 10 euros for 10 meters of light strips, which means around 2 euros for all that I used. Of course, cables, baking paper and stick were kind of free, you know, local storage. So in total, somewhere from 50 to 60 euros for both lights. which is still cheaper than 200 euros for one light.
So here we are at the end of the video. These are the results using the lights. So as you can see, everything looks so much better. I hope you enjoyed the video. This video really took me a long time, so if you click that little subscribe button at the bottom, I will really appreciate you. So thank you for watching and staying to the end of the video, and see you next time.